Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Mancunian Way. We are back. We are back. Hope you've enjoyed your week off. Rich and Pat have been here. True City fan. Patrick's been overtaken. Look at him. He's taking on my work away for the past week.
Yeah, but it's fair. I made a deal with you. I was like, well, when you're gone, I'm going to come in. But when you come back,
What deal?
just what it was a deal that you didn't even say yes to. You just accepted it the other day. You're like, yeah. So
I have no choice.
Martin, somebody had to entertain people, so I had to do it. Big up to all the guys in the chats, and big up to you, Rich.
Craig.
Well. Yeah, very good. How are you,
Tuna, SOS. Slicky is with us. I'm being told further top plan to extend Edison's contract. Yes. That was what we were on about. We're going to talk that as well. This is only going to be a quick one. We're only going to be on till about 10 to 3 at the max because I've got an appointment. But we are going to be live every single day this week. Every day this week we are live. Tomorrow night, Wednesday we're live. Thursday night chat. Friday transfer waffle. Every single day this week we are live. If anything goes, we will be live as well. So good evening, Rich. To you. Good afternoon to Pat. How are you both?
Good.
Yeah, good. Very good.
Ed's
joining as you.
I know. I've had a lovely time.
I think
phone's been a bit busy. Phone's been a bit busy over the last week.
Yeah. You should be wearing this top and you'd be camouflaged.
No, this was only a pre-tan. I'm away again in 6 weeks. So, and that I will be not this because you can't get Wi-Fi in Turkey. Wi-Fi in Turkey is very hard. So I will be disappearing. But hopefully all the transfer news is done and dusted. So, yes, loads going on. I don't know where you want to go with this. Pep Linders, Ryan Cherka, Tajani Reinders, Morgan Gibbs-White seems off. Costa seems off now. Edison may look like he's going to stay. Whole backroom staff's gone. Whole new backroom staff's coming in. Is there anything else I missed?
I would. With what big up the chat, big up everybody on the panel. Glad to be back on the panel. No, but with the Ederson thing, for me, if he's not signing a deal, get a pre-agreement with Porto for a price that you're comfortable with. You know, if we're not going to get him this summer, kind of do what Liverpool did with their new goalkeeper that's going to come in after Alisson. I know they bought him, and then he stayed where he was at, right, for a year, and now he's coming to be backup Alisson for another year. But just make sure you're good with that because I don't want to be next summer Ederson leaves, and now, you know, honestly, this is a summer for goalkeepers if you think about it. So I don't want to be missing out on a quality goalkeeper by just keeping Ederson for another year.
Okay. Anyone else on the Edison stuff? Pep said he's staying now.
I'm happy.
It'd be nice if he was. But as long as Ed's saying, we need to get him to be staying for a few years. And I think that may mean that Ortega goes.
Oh, you said Ortega's staying as well.
Is he? Well, maybe his performances this year haven't, set him up quite as well as he was last summer. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think that look, if both of them are staying, maybe the fact that people have to remember when you're doing a rebuild, right? Especially right now, the rebuild is too big. And there was always a voice in the back of my head. I was like, are we really going to see 3 new keepers, as people were saying? 3 new keepers, and then 4 backs. And then let's not forget the defenders that came in January. And then let's not forget Nico Gonzalez. It's like it's too new. Some position has to hold. Either Haaland as a striker, Rodri as a midfielder. And I think keeping a keeper for now, I think it's probably maybe the best decision to do. What do you think, Rich? I think too much.
I think Edison's also better at being City goalkeeper than any of the incoming are likely to be. I mean, some of the young lads like Garcia, give them a few years, then maybe, you know, they can turn into what Edison is. But I don't think if you sign Costa or any of the, you know, Donnarumma or anyone,
or Chevalier, one of them, yeah.
It'd be better for City because ultimately Edison is the best goalkeeper in the world with his feet.
Yeah.
You know, offensively with his feet. And, you know, I think if we actually sort our defence out so that we're not giving away such high XG chances so often, then, you know, Edison's shot stepping becomes less important and his passing becomes more important. And if he's got fast fullbacks, you know, playing with him next year, then that opens up a whole new dimension to Edison's play offensively as well. And his passing becomes even more important, you know, if we've got a wider team, a faster team, more.
No, I was saying ping the ball. Like he can, what Richie said now, he can ping the ball.
But that's a good point that Staffy makes in the comments. You know, Edison is becoming injury. He's picking up a lot of injuries. You know, I know this year he's battled that groin issue this year. So, I mean, if it was me, I would like to move Ortega out and maybe bring in the guy that you want long term. If he's not going to sign a long term extension,
he's got to extend if he's going to stay. Ed, he's got to extend
because he is picking up a lot of injuries. If you haven't noticed, I don't know how many games he missed this season, but he did pick up quite a few injuries or battled some injuries this season. But he's the best goalkeeper for us. If he does sign long term, I will be glad about that because when you're talking about a sweeper, when you're talking about ball playing ability, passing ability, you know, it's just he's the best guy out there for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Something I want to go to. We did mention it on this channel a long time ago, and I got called a liar. But Billy BS and everything else I got called under the sun when I talked about the coaching staff.
You forgot Waffle Merchant.
Oh, Waffle Merchant! I got called when I said the whole staff was getting changed. Not to worry, not to panic.
You're in Man City's pocket, Martin. You're in Man City's pocket.
Man City's pocket. I got called every name under the sun, like we did. And lo and presto, the whole backroom staff's going to change.
So lo and presto. Is that a new saying?
I said, hey, presto.
Oh, he found his saying. For here we go. We asked him that he has to find
lo and hey, presto. Yes, it's a Martinism.
There we go. Martin ITK.
Pep Linders. Anyone expecting that one?
I wasn't expecting that at all. And you know what, though? I am more excited now because I just watched a video of him 20 minutes explaining how he would like to. He plays football, explaining the reason why they had Salah and Mane. He says, I want people who can win I want strikers, 3 strikers, who can win the ball, right? The reason why I'm looking for 3 strikers is because they have to be clinical. When we win the ball up front, they have to cue the other team. And then he says, we don't press, we chase for the ball. I don't know. I'm just hoping to see I'm just surprised to see that it's him. But I'm also thinking, I was like, maybe Pep Guardiola is sitting there and saying, maybe somebody else with a sort of different idea has to come to me. And sometimes they have to challenge me with certain ideas that they don't belong to me, that are not mine. You know, most of the people who come to Pep sometimes are mostly his students. They are trying to learn from him. But it's like, what if somebody else comes in? Because he's always spoken about that Liverpool team with Klopp, saying that's the most dangerous team that gave him sleepless nights. So maybe he looks at that. But Martin, I'm excited. And you are right, Martin, on the other show. A lot of people keep thinking like Pep will come here and tell Pep what to do. But I think Pep will give him a chance. Do you know how Pep sometimes...
That's the thing I've seen this week. Pep Linders has become the manager. Pep Guardiola
I've noticed that.
Assistant manager.
Nah, I think
he's going to tell Pep what to do.
No, he'll give him games. Do you remember what he did to his assistant manager? Yeah. A few assistant managers.
He'll challenge him, but there's only one boss, and that's Pep Guardiola. Oh, I don't know where this Pep's been demoted down to assistant managers.
And I think what he did need though was a strong assistant. Like you could see that Arteta would disagree with him. Yeah, you know, would be animated. I think Lilo is more like Lilo was his manager when Pep was still a player.
Lilo's a puppet, Rich. Say it as it is.
Yeah,
he was a puppet.
he
was a puppet.
He's like a nice uncle. Yeah, he's like a nice uncle who's looking after him.
He was a foreign Kevin Keegan lookalike. You thought he could sit there and be his mate. Bollocks to that. You're not good enough. Get out. You weren't good enough.
No, but he wasn't good enough as a manager on his own. He was just someone comfortable, a bit like, having a mate, having your best friend's big brother, just
your mentor.
Yeah, it's except he wasn't a mentor like Pep's mentor. It was someone like Cruyff with real ideas and amazing things. Lilo was just, someone who looked after him. But I think, Pep needs someone who's going to get stuck into him. And I think we need someone different in that fitness arena. We need someone different with set pieces because we've become a bit predictable. And, it's only a few years since we got the most goals from set pieces in the Prem comfortably. But, that's really slipped. Is the fitness coaches or is it just the players have become too old and carried too many injuries? But certainly there's going to be a radical difference in the pace, the energy and the, type of impact that we can play at next season.
You know what? Talking about set pieces, right? Wasn't anybody surprised that what's going on at City? Number one, I'll start with number one. We get the most set pieces. I saw there was a game. I don't know if you guys watched. We had 18 corners before the other team had a corner. None of them goals or goal threat. And then number two, when we are defending the set pieces, Rich, they had Rico Lewis and Foden, Foden or somebody with a high Doku defending Van Dijk and what's his name? Konate. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I sat there, I was like, what's going on?
There was a time back in October, November, when we got a corner, and I remember saying this on one of the shows, it was more likely our opposition were going to break and score than we were going to score from the corner.
Yeah,
because we pushed everyone out from the corner and they had a break. And, I remember a couple of teams scoring against us from our own corners because they got the ball on the edge of the box and they ran. And it was just it was like, you can't have that. That was getting ridiculous. And we've got players, we have had players good in the air.
And I'll read it out word for word because I don't mind. Find it. This for the update I got. 3 deals were agreed, which is obviously the Cherka, the Ain't Nora, and the Rinder stuff. They were agreed with the players. Pep and Pep is happening. Pep Guardiola wants to change style of play, meaning could be more wingers. We don't know. We'll have to see on what happens. Let me have a look. Oh, Hugo wants Colo Torre as another coach. Pep Guardiola is not overly keen on the Colo Torre, promoting him up yet. Not overly keen on that. I don't know whether that goes back to his brother. I don't know.
The fans would like it. Gives a good excuse to start singing one of our favourite songs again.
They have been away together, or they will go away together. Pep wants to change the style of play. It feels like it was nowhere near good enough last year, and the ball tempo is helping the opposition far too often.
No, and I think we all talked about how slow we've been this year when it comes to moving the ball, especially in the final third when people are camped there. It seems like we're looking at them while we're passing, and they can just load up on us. And another reason why I like the Linders move is, he's played with overlapping fullbacks already. He's helped. He helped develop. Of course, these guys had wonderful talent. Trent and Robertson, in that overlapping fullback role. So he has experience with that, in developing those type of players. And he also he coaches an up-tempo style, which I think will be beneficial to Pep. Maybe he can. It's not about telling Pep what to do. It's just giving maybe some advice to Pep at times, and it depends if Pep takes it or not. I think you want your assistant to be like, hey, Pep, maybe we need to look at it this way. Hey, Pep, this player isn't doing well. Maybe we need a sub. Those little things can be beneficial because a lot of times you just see Lilo over there like this.
Drinking water. That's what he does.
So, I think we all knew we needed some change in the back staff. So, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Martin. You're on mute, Martin.
Oh, sorry, I'm on mute. My apologies. This is correct. There's been no bids for Ortega and Edison. We can look at every keeper in the world, but Edison and Ortega had to have interest back the other way.
Why do you think that is, though? Do you think?
I think Edison missed his boat. I think Edison missed the boat last season on Saudi.
Go.
I think the Saudi market's changed. I think it's changed, and I don't think. Yeah, I think he might have missed his boat on that. So I think Edison will be forced to sign a new deal, more than likely.
But I think I saw some rumors too that he would be interested in another European club as well. So,
well, like I say, but again, it comes with bids. If nobody, people have to bid.
I'm saying if he just waits a year, I'm just saying if he just waits a year, he gets a sign-on bonus.
He has to sign an extension because he's out of contract 2026. We cannot let him go.
But Martin, if nobody comes in for him, that's what I'm saying. If nobody comes in for him, he can just wait there and then get a sign-on bonus on another European club.
Yeah, he's a dangerous thing. He could sit on this deal.
Because Craig's talking about we're offering 130K. I don't think he wants 130K. I think he wants around the 2 range.
The one thing I will say, I agree with you. I think Edison's got all the power now.
And I think it's City's fault. I think we, for whatever reason, considering some of the deals we give to some players, we undervalued him. And I think he could see he was undervalued. He was, until Rodri took over as the first name on the team sheet, he was the first name every game on Pep's team sheet. The one player absolutely central to at least 5 seasons of Pep's football. And he's obviously played in them since, but hasn't been quite the dominant force, he was till 23. And I think everyone forgets to talk about shot stopping. I think everyone forgets just how good he was in some of the big games when it really mattered. He was brilliant the last game of the season. When it really mattered against Fulham, he showed up time and time again, had a fantastic game. And Champions League final, when it really mattered, biggest game, for our owners, along with the 21 final, I think, probably the biggest game for them, and he turned up. So he's still very capable. I think he's just got to be, his head's got to be right.
Yeah, and that's, it seems to go in for Martinez. I do think he's missed his boat. I think he's missed his boat on it. But yeah, Ryan Cherky, I want to talk about this because this is only going to be a quick whiz through. We'll be back tomorrow and go through it. Ryan Cherky, I don't know a lot about him. I'm not going to put my hand up and say I've watched him. I know nothing about him a lot. Except he can play wide, he can come inside. I don't know a lot about him.
I mean, he's cheap and a risk with a massive ceiling. He's been talked about for 5 or 6 years. It's been talked about for 5 or 6 years as this amazing talent from France. He's had moments when he's been brilliant and then he's slowed down. And I think the beginning of the season just gone and probably the end of the season before, he'd slowed down and then he took off again. Amazing talent. If you're playing against a 10-man block, he's got some magic that could fool and unlock a defense. But he's never had to work hard for Lyon. If you look, from what I've seen of him, not a huge amount, but you listen to their fans and experts on French football, he's never had to track back or really work really hard. So probably going to get the same criticism Mahrez got for a lot of City. Mahrez for me was always a world-class player, but half the City fan base couldn't cope with his lack of tracking back and working hard. And there are rumours about him having people around him who aren't the best influences, but that might not be true. City are pretty good at never really, I think Walker and Grealish may have had their moments, but generally we've been pretty good at recruiting players who, I think the phrase is no dickhead policy. So, you can take some of those things as a pinch of salt. But at 35 million, if that's what the price is, you've got a player who looks like he could be up at the level of the 100 million players who, you know, you can get cheap. And if it doesn't work, it's hardly a risk at that price. And if it does work, you've got your 100 million player for 35.
Well, Rich, I was on City Extra. Somebody posted that actually you were linked with Turkey when he was like in 2019. So we've known about him for
he made his debut at something out really young.
16.
You know, he was like, so he was talked about as this incredible talent. But the only thing is, he's not a typical Pep signing. He's not. I
don't know, Rich, because if you're talking about technical ability, it's all there. You know, if you're talking about versatility, it's there.
Yeah.
Now it's about, you know, and I know we give Pep a lot of heat, but one thing we can't say about Pep is his man management. Usually he's a good man manager. And if we've done all this due diligence and if he's talked with Pep, I think Pep is a great coach to get to reach that full potential. And if we reach that full potential, you maybe have signed a $80-90 million player.
And you know, and I think that's one thing we lost when Mahrez went, is that, you know, Mahrez wasn't always the best player on the pitch. Like I often say about Sterling, he was always a 7 out of 10. Never got a worse than a 7 out of 10 from him, but he didn't often get more than an 8. Riyad Mahrez would give you a 10 out of 10, but he'd give you a 2 out of 10. And I think Cherky might be like that. But Mahrez had magic that could unlock a game. And sometimes he could put a player on the backside and put it in the top corner, and he's changed the game. And I think we've seen we needed that against Southampton, against Palace.
Everyone, mate. Hello, we're still live. We're still live.
Well, just saying a bit of magic might be what we need.
There, Rich.
No, just
right, quick one then. David Mack, thank you for renewing for an 18-month, my friend. Appreciate that. You are a superstar. And MCFC, thank you for the $36.99. Big up, lads. Martin and Fab keep saying we want Tino. That means we haven't been part of the price yet. Nope, we haven't. Also, did you see Rich on YouTube say we could go for Donnarumma if he doesn't extend? Donnarumma's always been a funny name that keeps appearing some reason. Now, Pat, you sent me some.
Yeah, I just sent you that out. That's why I said I was laughing. It was about Edison, but I was laughing. I was like, is that guy just trying to get attention? I don't really trust that guy anyway. Sometimes he gets things right.
It's that Ekram Connor. I don't know
he's still he's still throwing out the Edison going to Audi.
He's saying that City's number one keeper Edison is strongly linked with the move to Saudi Pro League, with the Saudi Pro League club reporting offering 22 to 25 million. Al Ittihad are prepared to offer a lucrative 3-year deal. We'll see. We will see.
If they offered that, I think City are taking that. I think so. If they offered 25 to 30,
I mean, it's still early in the summer, right? And who knows? They might be just trying to get their big signings in for the Club World Cup. And then after the Club World Cup, they could put in a bid. But that's why I'm saying you need to have things in place just in case.
Well, where I do want to go to, because this seems to really make some people very, very happy or very, very sad. Seems obviously Gibbs White is too expensive, which kind of baffles me a little bit with all the donkey work they've put in with Gibbs White over the last few weeks. Why? Martin, did you not know the price at the beginning?
Yeah, that could be us doing what we have to do if we want to pay 70.
But no, it may be, and I'm not saying.
And they're saying 100. We've got to walk away. And we've got to convince our in the nose we've walked away, you know, whether we have or not.
I'm not an ITK, sure.
No. But what I mean is, if you're going to negotiate, at some point you've got to walk away from the negotiation.
Of course. I trust it's a weird one because we're going to talk about this on Thursday night. Thursday night, I'm really going to dig into the homegrown stuff. Nobbins did a video yesterday which was superb, and I'm telling you, if we're not careful, in 12 months' time we are buggered with homegrown. Buggered. with the amount of people could be going out and they want to sell, etc. So we'll talk about that down the road. But does that mean then they're going to have to spend big on Livramento? Because Newcastle fans are saying Livramento's going nowhere. He's not a moving Livramento.
But I think it's going to be the same situation with Bruno. Bruno was okay to leave as long as Newcastle was good with the fee. Right? He's not gonna go in and put a transfer request in as long as the clubs are both on the same page. I think he'll gladly leave, but he's not gonna bust down the door.
Yeah, but he's also a fullback, not a centre midfield. And I mean, Tonali came back and did well, but if they'd have lost Guimaraes last season, then they wouldn't be in the Champions League now.
But that was a release clause. This isn't, so we can.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. Whereas a fullback, if they can get rid of a fullback, and that means that they keep Isak and they can go and sign, an extra 2 or 3 players, Newcastle could think if they can get City up to 70 million or something, that they can get, a decent fullback in for 30, and then they've got 40 to go and spend on, another centre back, or, so, I think it's different with your spine. I think losing Bruno last year would have been a disaster for him.
Yeah.
And you look back and you think, if we'd have just paid that release fee, City would have had a much better season than we did.
That's problem. It's English tax. I said this on South Stand 20 minutes ago. 20 million gets added on for homegrown tax.
But they bought him for 40, and they bought him for 40, and he's improved. So, like anyone thinking they're gonna sell him for much less, yeah, they paid 40 million for him. He's got
Rich, let's say it as it is.
3 years left on his contract.
Rich, we've got to come out of this belief that we're going to pull every single homegrown player for 20 million quid. We are not going to buy everyone at 20 million quid.
No one thinks we are. Anyone who can
there are some who are saying Wharton's too expensive. Gibbs White is too expensive. Livramento is too expensive. So who the hell are we buying for homegrown?
They need to get over it. And
are we getting a kid for 10 million?
Livramento cost Newcastle 40 million, and they are not going to let him go for anything less than close to double that.
Yeah, why are people? You know what? People are sorry, Rick. People are making me laugh because even Gibbs White, I know we were all just complaining, but I sat there, as I told you on the South Stand, I have started looking at prices. We saw Palmer, who had just few appearances.
900 minutes. Less than 900 minutes.
And then we're sitting here complaining when these guys are giving us the first team players. Livramento, I saw Craig says no goals, no assists. Let's also look at the.
You know what? The amount
Let's
of
not forget
City
about
fans,
Walker was not even all that with assists and goals. Come on, guys.
The amount of City fans who had meltdowns about Kyle Walker and what we paid for him, I'd say over half fans commenting on it it wasn't so much on YouTube channels back then. It was just on, chat sites. But most people were in meltdown about Walker. It was ridiculous. Some of the City fans were in meltdown about John Stones, about Kevin De Bruyne. Like, everyone pretends they were really behind the signings, but lots of these signings where people were meltdown about the price. And the truth is, if you buy them and they work out, they're a bargain. If you buy them and they don't work out, they're not. Every City fan just about thought Calvin Phillips was a great buy and a bargain. And it's one of our worst ever signings. Other players we signed, you thought were going to be absolutely amazing. Like, I remember Ben Mendy thinking he is just going to be, going to be the best left back in world football. And things happen, and you're wrong. And so you can never tell. You just have to think: are they what the team needs? And if they're what the team needs, buy them. And then you've got to, get some luck on injuries, and hope your scouts have picked the right player. But there's no point worrying about the money.
Yeah, even the attitude stuff. I think I wanted to touch on the attitude stuff. People should realize this, right? Every time when a player from Lyon is a baller, even Bruno G, they used to say, "Oh, Bruno G, nobody's buying him. Newcastle bought him because of attitude." It's always Lyon ballers all the time. They tell, "Oh, attitude." Lyon is a disaster right now. Things are not great, and trust me, I was speaking to a guy from Liga somebody thinks that the whole half of the Lyon team will be sold. They'll go all over the place, and PSG is going to rate them. A lot of clubs will take most of their players, and they're willing to do that. But he was also saying some of the agents from Lyon, they like putting this attitude thing to try sometimes do deals with certain people. But then let's talk about Haaland coming to City. People were complaining about him coming to City. So attitude, prices, just forget it, guys. At this point in time, you get Livramento for 80. That's a fair price. You're giving them the extra 40, and Livramento is one of the best fullbacks, and I think he does well for City. He starts for City, and he even starts for a lot of clubs in the top 6.
What the only thing I'm not convinced about Livramento, I think he looks good defensively. I'm not convinced how great he is offensively. I think he's got the pace, and he actually came through as a more offensive player at Southampton. But yeah, I'm a bit worried that there'll be a bit of the same issue that fans complaining at Doku about with Livramento, is that I'm not sure he's got a great cross, or he's going to put great balls in. But Walker didn't. And if Livramento can provide the defensive cover that Walker did and the defensive solidity, then maybe I'm okay with it, because, I think on the other side, Aït-Nouri is someone who's impressed me, more on the going forward side, and his ability to, go down the line, his ability to get assists, his pace offensively, his passing ability, his technical ability. So I've always said on the show, I like the idea of 3 really good defenders at the back, and then you can have a Cancelo if you've got a Walker. So for me, I think Livramento looks like a good defender. So if we have him and we have Aït-Nouri on the other side, and Aït-Nouri is the one who's really going to, go crazy in attack, I'm kind of okay, sliding across Guardiola, Diaz, Livramento.
I understand what Craig's saying. Craig's saying with the price, I get it, and he's down with Nuno Mendes, I get it. The problem is you got them, then we're going to either have to keep a Grealish, keep a Stones that you don't want to keep, maybe. Someone has to then stay. Someone has to stay. Because seriously, I watched Nobbin's video. We are so getting to a point on homegrown where we're going to be so screwed soon.
Or you just have a smaller squad.
Oh, you go with a smaller squad then?
Yeah.
But the problem is, Rich, we're now at 30 plus now. We've not even got anyone out yet.
Yeah, no.
I think Rory's not homegrown. The 3 players you brought in are all foreign.
Yeah. That's why I'm not.
This is the problem.
I'm not necessarily believing that.
I don't want Gibbs White. I don't want him. And I know, Craig, you're not saying you're not.
That's why I don't believe Gibbs White is dead.
We've got to stop all this snobbiness of I don't want, just because they're homegrown, you don't want them.
Martin, can you
said the kiddie, I'm afraid.
Martin, put that comment up, the one by Craig. I have an answer for him. Because so Craig, Rich explained this, but I think he didn't go in more deeper details. He says Livramento is a more defensive right back. You cannot have Frimpong and Aït-Nouri in your team. Yeah, asking for trouble, because both of them are more attacking. Even Liverpool fans are saying Frimpong is not Trent. Frimpong is sort of a 4-back. He's sort of a wing back, and he's sort of somebody who also plays as a winger in Leverkusen. So I get where you're saying that, okay, Livramento, but there's a method to this madness. You always have to have a 4-back who's more defensive-minded than the other one. Let me give you an example. Robertson was the more defensive. Yes, he could attack, but he was the more defensive than Trent. Trent was given too much freedom. If you go at City, Cancelo would attack and even become a midfielder sometimes, and Walker would sit back. You really cannot have 2 Trent. You're asking for trouble. You can't have 2 Trents in the wings. You're just asking for too much trouble.
I think that's where, I think that this season that's been one of our biggest problems. I think, when I see, us wanting to play Nunes and O'Reilly or Rico and Nunes, as soon as we're playing 2 fullbacks who can't defend, it's like, that's a problem.
But Rich, I think
I want one of them to be able to play. And the thing is with Walker, he could always play as a right centre-back or right of a back 3. So if you needed defence and you needed pace to cover back, you could rely on Walker. Walker got us a lot of trouble with his pace, and he was also there to be a right centre-back in a back 3 if Cancelo was up doing his thing and showing no interest in defending. But yeah, if you have Frimpong or Nunes and Nori going up, I think then you leave yourself exposed. And I don't think, unless you've got the fastest centre back in the world and an absolutely elite pace, and Diaz and Guardiola don't have that, and Ake and Diaz don't have that, and Kuzanov has a bit more pace, but we're not going to have that elite pace. We need 3 of our 4 defenders to be relied upon to form a back 3 when the 4th is up.
And I think
that's what people don't get. Go ahead.
No, I just want to make a quick point that I think a lot of people get caught up with PSG, with Mendes and Hakimi, but people don't understand. Like, Hakimi is very, very good defensively. Like, he's a unicorn at that position where he can do both at an elite level. You're not going to find a lot of players like that.
And he's got an engine that he's young enough still, and he's got an engine that allows him to power up and down like Alves at his best. Alves at his best, was he better as an attacking fullback than as defensive fullback? You wouldn't call it, but he had the ability to run all day and cover so much ground, but as a world-class footballer. And I think there's not many players like that around you can get.
Do I do hear that though about the wing backs instead of the wingers. But I know that some get especially Patrick gets very upset about that way of playing, because it means his boy gets frozen out for 20 minutes.
I don't really. I don't really. I'm actually ruthless, I actually can flip like this. Look. I'm looking for the.
He's ditching Doku already. Ain't Nori, and he's like, get rid of him. Doku.
Do you know what though? Do you know what? Low key though. If a Nori walks into this team, the way I used to be to Riyad Mahrez. Remember, Martin, that's how we also met. Riyad Mahrez. You were saying Riyad Mahrez is lazy, that I got at you.
I've known you for far too long.
Yeah, if Nori just walks into this team, Doku, your time is over. Your defense is done. Doku, I'm sorry.
Julian Baller. Julian.
Yeah, I'm going to Algeria.
We have got to end in 5 because I apologise. This is quick. We'll go into it more tomorrow night when we can literally do 2 hours and we'll sit down with everyone. Couple of things because we will get into it. The one thing I will say is I want to put this out there. There is, sadly, we know that Craig Shez passed away the other day, sadly, due to his cancer. And thoughts and prayers go to everyone, his friends and his family as well. But there is going to be a charity football match in his honour. It will be on Sunday, the 15th of June at Furbank Park. It is going to be managed by the one and only Big Steve himself, followed by food and drinks at the Black Boy pub as well. So, yeah, if you want to get down there, show a lot of love to Shez and his family, to Shez's family and friends, who sadly, one of our own has gone, a true City fan from Main Road, everything else. Amazing. And thoughts and prayers are to his friends and his family at this sad time. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out. But I'm telling you, I went away. I've been away for 6-7 days. And the backroom staff's all gone. Turkey's coming. Rangers is coming. Alan's still not paid his £50 bet, I must admit. He's not paid.
He hasn't paid me from bloody 2017. So if he pays you, I'm going to be really pissed.
He's not paid. He says, send me your PayPal details. He's got my PayPal details. But yeah, big ups to everyone in the chat who's putting rest in peace. That's absolutely spot on. And like I said, we're a family as a fan base. The one thing I will say this season, I'm going to say this and I put this out earlier, we've got to be more nicer and a bit more together next season coming up. We can have our opinions, we can agree, we can disagree, but let's be nicer to each other. We turned into a very nasty fan base last season. Let's not do that Come on, we're not Arsenal fans turning on each other and everything else. Come on, let's stay together. Let's stay together. Is Alan getting a new show? Not a new show. There will be something. Just hold your horses on that. Stateside Blues is going to start very, very soon with our one and only Ed down there. There's loads to come, loads and loads to come. But we'll be back tomorrow. Just wanted to
Martin, we can't afford the legal fees of Alan speaking to America with their litigious lawyers. So I think we need to.
Alan's not included on the American show.
Oh, phew. That's all right then. So I thought you said you talk. Someone asked you about Alan, and then you start talking about America.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But no, but before we go, there's a video circulating on Twitter right now saying with Angers, Nori's former club, that paperwork was put in for City for Nori to come in for January, but we kind of did it too late. So that kind of could explain why this has gone quick and they already know the price and everything like that too.
Yeah, ain't Nori. Listen, those are the three. Also, there will be a space tonight. Spaces will be back. We'll do it tonight, live. People who've been begging for the sensible spaces to be back. So they will be back this evening. It's going to be a good one. And we'll be back tomorrow night around about 9 p.m-ish, where we'll go through everything with the panel. Because something will break tomorrow. The way this is going, I'm just glad it's all happening now. But yeah, big up Ed, big up Patrick. Go and show a lot. Are you going live anymore today, Patrick? Because I know LB's going live now.
I'm going live now because AB is talking about, I think he's talking about transfers. I'm talking about Pep Guardiola.
Oh. So there you go. This is going to take...
Yo, Pat has the most... Pat channel is funny, man. Pat channel.
Yo, look. You go, Blues. You got a choice. There's 150 of you. Smash the likes on the way out. By the way, big up. We've got another 400 subs while I've been away. Thank you. Amazing. We're on our way to 7K already. And we're not even into the new season yet. We have missed you all. Thank you so much.
Martin, do you know why I'm talking about this Pep thing? It's because there's these people who are crying that Pep has to go. So now I want to ask them. I've called a few. I hope they show their faces. I want to ask them that who's going to replace. I have a list of 120. I'm going to be asking one by one and say who will be better. Because Pep is number one on that list. Pep is number one on that list, by the way.
Do you want a receipt show from Pat? This will take you to LB's. So if you want to watch LB, stay there. If not, get over to True City Fan. Well, is it set up? Is it set up, Pat?
Mine is already set up.
Right, well, I'll put the link in the comments then. So you've got a choice of where you can go.
Ed's Mancunian and Rich, you can come through if you're free.
There you go, Rich.
I'll jump on your show. Ed, I gotta take my dog to the vet. Actually,
Rich, you want to go on Pat's channel? Jump on.
I've got to go to bed. It's midnight.
Rich, go and have he only does half an hour. Go and have half an hour.
Wait. Rich, what time is it there?
It's nearly midnight.
Oh, let the man sleep. No, let the man sleep. Before midnight. Yeah, let the man sleep.
Tuesday.
Earlier in the day.
I'll DM you though, Pat. I'll DM you.
We're back Tuesday, 9 p.m. So we're back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Space tonight about 11:30. Take care, all. We are back. We are going strong the Mancunian way. And as it seems, Manchester City are back as well. The rebuild is well and truly on. See you.